Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be looking at a magicka DK build, but not just any magicka DK build. We're going to be looking at the 1-bar magicka DK build. It's right. Yeah, the new patch is out. We got the Oakensoul ring. I got it pretty early on. I've been playing this build for a couple of days now and I love it. I got to say, the whole concept of having a 1-bar build is amazing to me. I love having to make a decision and shrink down my build to just 1 bar. And I mean, some classes can probably do it better than others. I would say DK is probably the perfect class to just only have 1 build, 1 bar. And yeah, honestly, I've been having a ton of fun. This build is surprisingly strong, and there's like a little thing that I built in there for me personally, because this is actually an iteration of an old build that I used to play that was called Double Roar. And yeah, we're going to do Double Roar again, and I will explain to you why exactly it's called Double Roar in a little bit. But first of all, let us look at the stat sheet here. So we got 30k magicka, not bad, 33k health, not bad, and 20k stamina. These are pretty impressive stats here, so that's pretty decent. The weapon damage goes up to like 6.5k roughly when you're fully buffed. And yeah, spell critical, not bad. I think we got like a crit buff or something. It's usually at like 30%, but yeah, 30% still not too shabby. The spell penetration is not super high on this build. There's a thing you could do, and I will talk about this later, where you can basically have 100% spell penetration. We don't have this on this build because I made the decision to not have it, but that's okay. The damage is still very nice. And as you can see, the spell and physical resists, typical spell and physical resists for a medium armor build, because this is a medium armor build. Our crit resist goes up to like, I think 33, yeah, 3300 I think is where we sit. We have the rallying cry on this build, so yeah, pretty decent stats overall. Of course, as you can see, the the Oakensoul ring is on. We got all the major buffs here. Very nice. As the Mundus, we're using the warrior right now. You could change this up to be anything you want, basically. Anything you feel like you're missing. You know, be it more health, be it some speed, or maybe if you want to go for more penetration, you can do this here. I went for the warrior. Just, I don't know. I just wanted to just beef out my damage a little bit more and have really strong heals, because I basically only have 1 heal. So I wanted to make sure that my heal is as strong as it can be and still have some damage. And the best way is to just stack raw damage, because that benefits your outgoing damage and your heals. So there's that. I'm a vampire stage 1. If you want, you can be stage 3. If you want to do it, you can maybe stage 3, become more tanky. I decided against it just for sustain reasons. But yeah, if you're playing in a group and you're not like heavily pressured, I think stage 3 would come in handy. For me as a solo player that gets piled on a lot, I feel like stage 3 is a little bit of a burden sustain wise. So, you know, feel free, you know, you can make that decision. But yeah, that's the stats. Let's look at the sets real quick. So the sets, I have a little surprise for you, of course. So I already told you about it. We're running the rallying cry, which is basically the meta set right now. It's actually a really good set. You get some crit chance, you get the max magicka, and then of course when you critically heal yourself, you gain basically 300 weapon damage and 1500, almost 1600 critical resistance. Depends on how high the quality is of your set pieces. I only have the blue jewelry here, which is okay. You know, it's not a big deal. Like, you're not going to benefit from 10 more weapon damage. That's not going to do anything for you. So don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Okay. So we got the rallying cry. We got it on the jewelry here. We got it on the weapons, and then we have the 1 pauldron here. Then we have 1 Valkynscoria on the helm piece here, just for some extra penetration. And then of course the Oakensoul ring here. Oakensoul ring already comes in infused, so that's a really nice thing. If you get it, it's already infused. You don't have to do anything. So yeah, these here are arcane. This ones are infused. If you want, you can infuse all of them. I left them arcane because you know, I need some magicka to work with, so I feel a little bit more comfortable having a larger magicka pool. I've seen people run around with like 23, 24, 25k magicka these days. I personally don't feel comfortable with that. I always want just a little bit more magicka. Maybe it's just from back in the day when everybody had more magicka. I just feel more comfortable seeing a half decent magicka pool. But yeah, the Oakensoul ring comes in infused, so you don't have to transmute that at all, which is really, really nice. And then the last set, and I told you this is a surprise, and this also explains why this build is called Double Roar. It's the Witchman set. What does the Witchman set do? It's actually a pretty solid set. Stamina recovery, some weapon and spell damage, and some health, so pretty decent bonuses here. But then when you use an ultimate ability, you heal for 60 health and restore 50 stamina and magicka. And some of you might say, oh wait, you're a DK, you already have that. Exactly, that's the whole point. I already have that, and now I put more on top. That's why it's called the Double Roar, because we already have the Battle Roar passive here, which does exactly the same. Restores 60 health and 50 magicka and stamina for each point of the ultimate that you use. So now we get double, and this is our only sustain mechanic. Because if you look at the stats here, our sustain stats, they're not very high. They're not very high. 600 magicka recovery. How do you want to sustain with that? Well, it's easy. Every time you leap someone, you fill up all your resources. And your leap is up every like 12 or something seconds. So yeah, you can sustain quite easily with a setup like this, which I personally very much like. And it's just an interesting thing. Like I said, this is like an old kind of concept build that I was running like 5 years ago in 2017 when I first made the build. And I really like the idea of having a build that just gives you massive amounts of resources back every time you use an ultimate. And back in the day, Witchman's wasn't even that good. It's much better now. So yeah, that's basically the sets right now. When it comes to the traits, I have infused on the big pieces here. That's like, because this is all old gear, and I always used to have infused on the big pieces. I probably wouldn't do it anymore. I would probably put impen on these days, but it's not a bad idea for some max stats. So back in the day, always used to have infused on the big pieces, and then impen on the small pieces. This one here is reinforced. Optimally, this would be impen as well, but you know, you can put sturdy on if you want, because this is a build that blocks a lot. We basically always block. Okay, this is, I wouldn't call it like a perma block build, but it is a very big part of this build. So technically it is a perma block build. And if you want to block more, if you want to feel comfortable blocking, you know, put some sturdy on if you really want to. But I leave that up to you. The shield is impen, and this weapon is decisive. This is not a conscious decision, really. It was just really hard to get a rallying cry weapon, and this was decisive, and it still cost me a ton of money. Decisive is not bad, though, because we're getting a lot of ultimate on this build, and decisive, of course, has a chance to give you more ultimate. So this kind of plays into this whole Oakensoul gameplay, because you get the major heroism on this ring, which is up at all times when you're in combat, which generates a ton of ultimate, and that kind of plays into the whole sustain play with the DK Battle Roar and the Witchman set. And then, you know, this one just, it makes it a little bit faster. So it's definitely not the worst one, but two other traits that you could go with would be either like defending for a little bit more tankiness, or of course sharpened if you feel like you want more penetration. So yeah, these are the sets. Let's look at the skills. Easy peasy, we only have one bar. We're gonna breeze through this super quick. So the first one is Noxious Breath. Why are we using Noxious Breath? Because we get the Major Breach. Otherwise the magicka one would be good too, but I think the Major Breach is nice to have, so that gives us an extra 6k on top of our 3k that we have, so we end up at 9k. Our penetration is not terrible. It's not anything crazy, but you know, 9k penetration is okay, I feel like. It does decent upfront damage. It deals a decent amount of damage over time, but yeah, you basically, it's just part of your combo. It can proc the Molten Whip, of course, and the second one is Burning Embers, which, you know, a little bit upfront damage, some damage over time, You get some healing out of this. You can technically not use this if you really want to, if you really want to use something else. I like the you know, the dot stack, having 2 dots taken on your target, because they take quite hard, and I really like it. A little bit extra healing. Of course, the healing was nerfed with this patch, so it's not as crazy good as it used to be last patch, but I still think it's pretty decent. And having this up on multiple targets definitely helps with sustaining in a larger fight. The next one is Molten Whip. This is our bread and butter, basically burst skill. You know the deal, right? You know the deal. You just cast 3 Ardent Flame abilities, which are going to be these 2 here. And after the 3rd time, the Molten Whip becomes basically supercharged, deals twice as much damage, and also your weapon spell damage goes up by 75 for each stack of the Ardent Flame that you have, the Seething Fury, which gives you a little bit extra damage, of course. And you want to keep this up at all times, and you can keep this up even without a target. If you want to prepare, you can just use this one. As you can see, if you look down here, you see this thing, the Seething Fury. You see the timer down here, and you see the stack number 3. So you can keep this up at all times. It keeps up for like 9 seconds or 10 seconds. And you know, I like to just keep up the timer on this thing, just so I'm ready when I go into a fight. I have all my 3 stacks ready, so I can just like leap in and just do like a little whip, and just, you know, just be ready, just be charged, you know. So that's a good way of like keeping yourself prepared for, for a fight that is about to happen. The next one is Invasion. A lot of people give me shit for this, but I will not back down. I will die on this hill. I love Invasion. And if you've ever played an old school DK, hey, we were all using Invasion back in the day, okay? Invasion. Why Invasion? Because it's amazing. I've always said it's a really good skill because you have a gap closer and a stun in one skill. And especially now with a 1-bar build, that is even more valuable because you only have 5 slots that you can use for your skills. So having Invasion do 2 things that are really important to me: a gap closer, just to be able to keep up with people, just to be able to get into a fight real quick, and then have a stun on top of that is just super valuable to me, because this is not the fastest build. We don't really have speed built into this build, which I said, you know, like I said, you could build some speed, but I didn't go for speed, so I have Invasion. I can gap close people and I can stun them. And sure, if you really don't want to use it, yeah, you can go for Fossilize if you really want to. You know, most people will use Fossilize. I personally don't like Fossilize. I love Invasion, and I will die on this hill, okay? So get off my dick. And the next one is Coagulating Blood, which is an insane heal. It just healed so hard. I'm getting like 18k heals constantly. It's just insane. It's so good. They kind of nerfed it a little bit, not in terms of healing power, but it's a little bit more expensive now. But it's not really a big deal, and it heals like a motherfucker. It's so good. And yeah, that's basically it for the skills. I'm using Take Flight, which is another kind of controversial topic for a build like this. Most people, I think, would actually prefer to go with Corrosive Armor because it gives them the 100% penetration, makes them more tanky, and it's, honestly, like with 206 ultimate, it's not that expensive. And with a build like this, you would get it up pretty quick too. I just love Leap. I gotta say, I love Leap. It also kind of plays into like the mobility kind of thing that I was talking about, not having the speed, and that's why I like having a gap closer. Leap is basically a gap closer too, because you can just leap someone from very far away, deal a massive amount of you know, burst damage and knock them back, which is really nice. And I prefer this. But yeah, honestly, if you like Corrosive better, just go for it. Corrosive is fine, it's amazing, and it's going to benefit you in a different way. You know, I just wanted like an old school DK feel. That's why I went with the Invasion. That's why I went with the Take Flight. But yeah, if you want if you want fossilized and corrosive armor, go for it, you know. That works fine. And yeah, that's it for the skills. We're already done with the skills. Let's look at the CP real quick. Nothing crazy here. The green tree is whatever. You put in whatever you want. I like to have the gifted rider for extra mount speed and the war mount, so I'm not losing the stamina. Whatever else you put in here is up to you. When it comes to the blue tree, take all the free passives that you can get. And I'm using Deadly Aim for single target attacks, which is basically, you know, my whip, and the Burning Embers. Thaumaturge for damage over time, because we have 2 dots taken on people. You have Mastered Arms for direct damage, which is the leap and the whip. And Biting Aura, area of effect attacks, which is the leap and the Noxious Breath. So, you know, just buffing all my damage sources. You could potentially go for the backstabber if you want to. It's not a bad idea. I personally I thought, you know, my crit rate is not super high. I'm not playing into the whole crit kind of thing. So I thought it might be better to just like buff the damage straight up and not just go for like a crit play, which sometimes you get the crit, sometimes you don't. And I mean, you know how it is. When you really need the crit, you never get it. So I just thought, just buff the damage all around, and that's fine. And when it comes to the red tree, we got a couple special things. Like I said, take all the free ones that you can get, and then we're running Boundless Vitality for extra health. I think that's important because, you know, in today's meta, you want to have some extra health, and it's kind of hard to get to that extra health and still maintain other good stats. So that really helps just, you know, beef up the health a little bit without having to give up on your magicka or your stamina. Sustained by suffering, which is in here, is this one here. Increases your health, magicka, and stamina recovery by 30 per stage while under the effects of a negative effect. So this is 150 health, magicka, and stamina recovery. As you saw, we have basically minimal recoveries on this build. It's because you don't see this right now, but this would give me 150 extra health, magicka, and stamina recovery, which is kind of a big deal because it's all you need to do is you have to have a negative effect on you, which you will have at all times basically when you're fighting. So this is going to be up at all times. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like it. So the next one we have is Survival Instincts. While afflicted with a status effect, your core combat skills cost 5% less per stage. So what does this mean? It's this one here, by the way. What does this mean? So if you have a status effect on you, like a burning or a poisoned or something like that, you know, which you will have at all times basically, because it's super easy to apply that to a target, and there's so many of them that you almost always have one of them on you, and that will reduce your core combat skills by 25%. What is a core combat skill? It's not abilities, it's things like dodging and blocking. That's a core combat skill. So we're doing a lot of blocking on this one, and I think this is like one of the best passives to reduce the block cost, because 25% reduction in block cost, that's something you don't really get with the other passives here. So if you're looking for like a cheap block, don't forget about Survival Instincts. This is a really good one. And then Peace of Mind increases magicka and health recovery while under the effects of a crowd control immunity, which we're going to be under the effects of CC immunity at not at all times, but pretty often, because people are basically going to stun you on cooldown. So when you take a stun, and there's a lot of stuns that go through your block, you would say, "Oh, but you're blocking all the time. You're not gonna get stunned." Oh yeah, I'm getting stunned. I'm getting stunned. There's a lot that goes through, like, you know, Templars have the javelin that goes straight through that knocks you out of your block. Sorks can streak you. There's other things too, and you know, so since it's so easy, and sometimes your block fails and you just still get hit by a stun even though you're blocking, which is kind of weird, but it's been happening to me a lot. So, you know, being stunned and then breaking free gives you another 200 health and magicka recovery, which of course stacks with this one here. That's basically 350 extra health and magicka recovery and 150 stamina recovery on this one. that you just get just fighting, you know, just being out in the fight and just, you know, just being active. And I think that's a pretty good thing, because we have low regens on this build, right? So having a flat regen increase is gonna do a lot, and it's gonna probably be better than just like a percentage increase, because, you know, a percentage increase of a low number is probably still gonna result in a pretty low number. So yeah, putting just a flat increase on a low number is definitely better. And don't forget, you also have the major and the minor recovery from the minor recoveries from the Oakensoul and the major from using a potion. So you're already getting that, you know, so you're already getting up to, like, I would say, like, probably like 1,000 regens, and then this comes on top with like 350. So your regens are not terrible, even though they look terrible unbuffed on the character sheets. They're not terrible. And like I said, you have unlimited sustain just casting your ultimates over and over again. You literally, like, you can literally, I can put in a clip if you want. I can put in a clip. You can literally, if you have 0 resources, you just cast your leap and your full resources. It just fills up the entire bars. It's amazing. You're gonna love it. It's so satisfying to see your resource bars just shoot up when they're empty. This build is fun to play. It really is. You want to see something? You want to see something? Look at my resources. Look at my resources. All full. And yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, take all the free ones that you get here, like the Sprinter and Defiance and stuff like that. You just take all the free ones, and that's basically it. And that's the build, ladies and gentlemen. I will leave you with some footage, of course, but I hope you like it. I love this build. I love it a lot. It's super fun to play. It kind of feels like old school DK, and I just love that. I'm missing old school DK. So give it a try. It's fun, and of course you can port a build like this to other classes as well. And I will probably do a lot more Oakensoul builds, because I find them very interesting, super fun to play, and I'm glad we have something like that. So anyway, guys, that's it. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll be back with another video soon. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye. Too late. Get off. Oh, I see how it is. Oh, look at... I can't break... Oh, interesting. Yes, nice. Very nice. Are you running away now, son? Let's not forget you are the guy that just double teamed me. Let's not forget it. Whoa. Yeah, Nightblade heals are OP right now. I can feel them. I feel those OP Nightblade heals. Woohoo! GG, baby. GG. Well played. Please write it down. Note it. Note it. Please. Write it down. I'm even being zerged here. Thirdly, your mom is fat and ugly and she stinks. Boom. I said it, Zenimax. I said it, Zenimax. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Fix your game? Haha! I don't think so. Come on, attack me, motherfucker! You won't. You won't, motherfucker! Yeah! You think you can kill the 1-bar DK? Think again!